Have you ever been cut off by someone who didn't shout, didn't argue, didn't even explain? They just went silent, like you never existed. If that was a Sigma male, you probably never saw it coming. To most people, silence feels like rejection. But for a Sigma, silence is strategy. It's how they take back power, protect their energy, and make a statement louder than any confrontation ever could. In this video, you'll discover the brutal truth about why Sigma males go silent and cut people off, from the way they process betrayal, to the discipline that keeps them from chasing drama, to the finality of their detachment. We'll break down every hidden reason behind their silence. And here's the truth: once a Sigma is done with you, there is no explanation, no closure, and no going back. Stay with me until the end, because these insights will not only help you understand the Sigma mindset, but they'll also make you rethink how silence can be the strongest move in your own life. And if you want more raw psychology like this, make sure you hit subscribe right now. Because here on UltraWise, we say the things most people are too afraid to admit. Silence as the first warning. When a Sigma male begins to pull back and go silent, most people don't even notice at first. They think it's just moodiness, busyness, or maybe even arrogance. But here's the reality. Silence is the Sigma's first warning shot. And if you don't pay attention, it's the only one you'll ever get. Unlike most people, Sigmas don't explode in anger. They don't throw dramatic tantrums, and they don't beg for attention. Their silence is calculated. It's the quiet signal that something has shifted, that the balance of respect in the relationship is off, and they've already started distancing themselves emotionally. What makes this so brutal is how subtle it is. A Sigma won't announce they're pulling away. They won't send you texts about how hurt they feel. They won't demand apologies. Instead, you'll notice little things. Their replies get shorter. Their time with you becomes less frequent, and their energy feels colder. At first, you might brush it off as temporary, but by the time you realize what's happening, they're already gone. That's the difference between Sigmas and everyone else. Their silence isn't passive, it's active. It's the beginning of the end. Psychologically, this makes perfect sense. Sigmas value their time, their energy, and their peace of mind above everything else. When someone starts crossing their boundaries, whether it's through disrespect, manipulation, or even subtle control, they don't waste words trying to convince you to change. They know most people don't listen anyway. So instead of arguing, they simply withdraw. Silence becomes their shield, their weapon, and their form of communication all at once. And this is why it unsettles people so much. We live in a world where conflict is loud, where people scream, argue, and demand attention. But when a Sigma goes silent, it flips the script. Suddenly, the other person has no cues to read, no reaction to manipulate, no leverage to push against. That silence forces them to sit with themselves, to wonder what went wrong, and to face the uncomfortable truth that maybe they pushed too far. Here's the brutal part. Once a Sigma goes silent, the chances of turning things around are slim. Their silence isn't a test, it's a decision. They've already weighed the relationship, measured the value against the cost, and decided it's not worth the drain. By the time you notice the quiet, they've already moved on emotionally. That's why people call Sigmas cold. Not because they don't feel, but because once they're done for good. So, if you ever notice a Sigma male getting quieter, don't ignore it. Don't assume they'll come back around, because their silence isn't temporary. It's their first and final warning. And when they stop talking, it's not the beginning of a fight, it's the end of the relationship. They protect their energy at all costs. For a Sigma male, energy is the most valuable currency. Unlike most people who give their time and attention freely to anyone who asks, a Sigma is ruthlessly selective. They know that energy wasted on the wrong people or situations drains them of focus, clarity, and peace. That's why they don't let just anyone into their world. If you're in their circle, it's because they've already decided you're worth the investment, and if you cross that line, you'll be cut off faster than you can blink. This isn't arrogance, it's strategy. Sigmas understand that every interaction has a cost. Fake friends, manipulative partners, toxic workplaces, all of these demand energy but give nothing in return. While most people stay in these cycles out of fear, obligation, or habit, the Sigma refuses to play along. They'll withdraw, detach, and move on without looking back. Protecting their energy isn't optional, it's survival. What shocks people is how unapologetic Sigmas are about this. They don't justify, explain, or soften the blow. One day you're in their life, and the next you're not. That sudden shift feels brutal to others, but it's simply the Sigma applying their rule. If you drain me more than you inspire me, you lose access. Their energy is reserved for goals, passions, and the very few people who bring value rather than chaos. And here's the brutal truth. This is why Sigmas seem untouchable. They can't be manipulated with guilt, pressured with obligation, or trapped by drama. Their energy is their fortress, and they guard it with precision. Once they sense you crossing the line, they don't fight you, they just remove you from the equation. They refuse to explain themselves. One of the most brutal truths about Sigma males is that they don't owe anyone an explanation, and they act like it. While most people scramble to justify their choices, defend their decisions, or soften the blow of their actions, the Sigma doesn't bother. If they decide to leave a situation, cut someone off, or change direction, they do it without announcement. That silence shocks people more than anything else, because in a world obsessed with constant validation and explanation, the Sigma simply moves. Why? Because explaining yourself is a form of giving power away. It means you care more about how others interpret your actions than about the actions themselves. Sigmas don't play that game. Their focus is on results, on alignment, on protecting their peace. If something doesn't serve their growth or violates their boundaries, they walk, no speeches, no apologies. People who expect closure are left spinning, trying to decode what just happened, while the Sigma is already 2 steps ahead, building their next move. This refusal to explain unnerves people because it takes away their control. Most are used to guilt-tripping, shaming, or debating someone into submission, but with a Sigma, there's nothing to argue with, because they've given you no words to attack. Their silence is the wall you can't climb. You're left with nothing but your own discomfort, forced to face the reality that they don't need your approval or your understanding. A Sigma's brutal edge lies in this truth. Not everything requires explanation. Some choices stand on their own. And when a Sigma refuses to justify himself, it sends a clear message. He's not living for your comfort. He's living for his freedom. Betrayal is non-negotiable. For a Sigma male, betrayal is the one line you never cross, because once it happens, there's no going back. Unlike most people who might forgive, give second chances, or stay stuck in toxic cycles, Sigmas see betrayal as a final verdict. They don't argue, they don't negotiate, and they don't waste time trying to repair something that's already broken. Once their trust is gone, so is their presence. This is what makes them so different. Trust to a Sigma isn't casual, it's sacred. If they've let you into their world, it means they've already calculated the risks and chosen to invest in you. But that investment is conditional. Not on perfection, but on loyalty. The moment you prove that loyalty can't be counted on, the Sigma cuts you out with surgical precision. And the silence that follows isn't a temporary punishment, it's permanent. People often underestimate this side of them. They assume that because Sigmas are calm and detached, they'll tolerate betrayal quietly, or eventually come back around. But what shocks everyone is how absolute their exit really is. They won't fight, they won't seek revenge, and they won't even explain. They'll just vanish, leaving you with nothing but the realization that you've lost access to someone who never gave their trust lightly in the first place. This is why betrayal feels so brutal when it comes to a Sigma. Their detachment isn't out of bitterness, it's out of principle. They know that once trust is broken, the foundation is destroyed. And for a Sigma, building on a broken foundation is a waste of time. Their silence is their verdict, and it's final. Silence as psychological power. For the Sigma male, silence isn't just the absence of words. It's a calculated weapon. While most people rush to fill awkward pauses, defend themselves, or explain every little detail, a Sigma deliberately chooses silence to shift control. And that silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. Think about it. In conflict, silence makes people uncomfortable. They scramble to explain, justify, or overcompensate. The Sigma, on the other hand, sits still, unreadable, unbothered. That lack of reaction forces the other person to confront themselves, and often they end up revealing more than they ever intended. In relationships, this silence can expose manipulation or lies without the Sigma ever raising their voice. Their calm presence creates a pressure that words alone can't match. This is why people fear it so much. When a Sigma goes silent, they strip away the usual tools others rely on: emotional outbursts, guilt trips, endless debates. Instead, the manipulator, the liar, or the fake is left alone with their own discomfort. And in that vacuum, the Sigma maintains all the power. It's not about being passive or avoiding confrontation. It's about understanding that silence is sometimes the sharpest response. It communicates detachment, strength, and the refusal to play games. It unsettles people because they can't predict what's coming next. And in a world where most people overshare, overreact, and over-explain, the Sigma's silence is what makes them untouchable. That's the brutal truth. Silence isn't weakness, it's psychological dominance. And when a Sigma chooses it, you've already lost the argument, because they've shown they don't even need words to win. They see patterns others miss. One of the most unsettling abilities Sigma males have is their capacity to notice what slips past everyone else. Where most people only see surface interactions, the Sigma sees connections, inconsistencies, and repeating patterns. This isn't just intuition. It's a combination of observation, analysis, and an ability to step back from the noise long enough to recognize the hidden structure underneath. For example, in relationships, most people get caught up in words or emotions. The Sigma doesn't. He watches how someone's actions line up with their promises. He notices the small changes in tone, the subtle shifts in body language, and the recurring cycles of behavior that reveal someone's true character. Over time, those details form a map, and by the time others are still figuring out what's going on, the Sigma already knows where things are headed. Figure out what's going on. The Sigma already knows where things are headed. This same ability plays out in business and social environments. While others chase trends or react to immediate circumstances, the Sigma steps back and studies the long game. He spots patterns in people's ambitions, in power dynamics, in the way groups operate. This lets him predict outcomes and prepare silently, shocking others when he seems to just know what's coming next. The reason this unnerves people is simple. When someone sees patterns, they see through illusions. Lies, manipulation, and fake masks don't hold up under that kind of awareness. And because Sigmas rarely announce what they've figured out, others are left guessing how much he knows, which only adds to his mystique. That's the brutal truth. Sigmas see what's hidden because they don't get distracted by noise. They study, connect the dots, and draw conclusions that others never even considered. And by the time you realize what they've noticed, it's already too late. Walking away without closure. One of the most shocking moves Sigma males make is walking away without offering closure. Most people are conditioned to believe every ending requires explanation, a final conversation, an apology, or at least some kind of reasoning. But Sigmas don't play by those rules. When their trust is broken, when respect is gone, or when they sense a relationship has turned toxic, they don't waste time with drawn-out goodbyes. They leave quietly, and that silence is often more powerful than any words could be. To the people left behind, this feels brutal. They replay events in their heads, searching for answers, wondering what they did wrong, or waiting for some kind of explanation that never comes. And that's exactly why this move carries so much weight. By refusing to engage in the drama of closure, the Sigma removes all opportunities for manipulation. No begging, no bargaining, no false promises, just a final, clean break. The reason behind this isn't cruelty, it's efficiency. Sigmas understand that closure is often an illusion, a way for people to soothe their ego or reopen the door for more conflict. Instead of getting pulled into endless cycles of discussion, they choose peace. Once a Sigma has decided that a connection no longer serves him, his silence communicates everything that needs to be said. This shocks people because it flips the script on traditional dynamics. Most expect confrontation, anger, or at least justification, but the Sigma's quiet departure leaves a deeper mark. It teaches a simple but brutal truth. Not everyone owes you an explanation. Sometimes the silence is the explanation, and with Sigmas, once they're gone, there's no going back. Their silence means it's truly over. When a Sigma male goes silent, it's not a pause, it's not a test, and it's definitely not a tactic to get your attention. It's the final signal that the connection is over. Most people don't understand this because they're used to arguments, breakups filled with explanations, or cycles of leaving and returning. But with a Sigma, silence isn't temporary distance, it's the ultimate boundary. What makes this so brutal is that it leaves no room for negotiation. When a Sigma reaches this point, it means he has already thought everything through. He has weighed your actions, measured the respect in the relationship, and decided the cost is no longer worth his energy. By the time the silence arrives, the choice has already been made. And unlike others who might waver, his decision is permanent. People who've experienced this often describe it as shocking. One day, the Sigma is fully present, engaged, and loyal. The next, it's like he has vanished from your world. Calls go unanswered. Messages stay unread. There's no closure, no dramatic farewell, just absence. And that absence speaks louder than words ever could. It communicates finality. This is why so many secretly fear crossing a Sigma male. Once he's done, there's no winning him back. Apologies, excuses, or emotional outbursts won't break the silence. His quiet is not cruelty, it's protection. It's the clearest way he ensures his peace is no longer disturbed. The lesson here is simple. With Sigma males, silence is the ultimate truth. If you ever find yourself on the receiving end of it, don't mistake it for a waiting game. Their silence isn't a tactic, it's closure. And once it falls, the chapter is closed forever. If you've made it this far, you already know that when a Sigma male goes silent, it isn't weakness. It's the purest form of strength. Silence protects their energy, shields their peace, and draws a line that no words can cross. It's not about punishing others. It's about refusing to let disrespect take another ounce of their time. So here's the question for you. Have you ever gone completely silent and cut someone off? Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this video spoke to you, subscribe to Ultrawise for more insights into the Sigma mindset and the hidden psychology behind why they live by different rules.